Oh yeah, love coming to the Horse Soldier.
Hey Gary, good
Jim,
to see you again.
How you doing? Thanks for having us as
Yeah.
always.
Come on in and look around.
What is this, my 1000th time here? I'm seeing ordnance, I'm seeing books, ephemera, buttons right in front of me. I'm seeing photos, everything the soldiers used to eat, and then a whole wall of uniforms as we go along here. Books, there's so much to see here. Unconfirmed reports suggest that Kris White actually camped out here, used an original Civil War tent, and slept here just so he could see some of these artifacts.
And I'm really excited to be here at the Horse Soldier here in Gettysburg. And we're joined today by Court, who's with the Horse Soldier. Court, I think this is the first time you're on camera with the American Battlefield Trust.
Absolutely. I've made it.
Yeah,
this
you've
is
made
crazy.
it. You know Gary Edelman.
I know. Really.
So we've come behind the scenes here, as it were, at the Horse Soldier, and we're going to take a look at a few different artifacts. And I mean, this place is chocked full, downstairs, upstairs, anywhere you could think of. They have stuff just basically for you to take in. And if you want to, head over to their website, thehorsesoldier.com, or head here to Gettysburg whenever you're here in Gettysburg and stop along Steinway Avenue. It's well worth your time to come on inside. So, Court, I want to start off with the artifact that's sitting here on the table. Let's talk a little bit about this hat. And whose hat is this and what makes it so special?
None other than General Nathaniel Banks. And this is the hat that he actually wore during the Red River campaign. Interestingly, if you can see that, he punched ventilation holes in the top and then put ventilation discs in the side. This is more akin to a campaign-style hat of 30 years later than it is a Civil War cap. He was ahead of his time.
Yeah, Banks, nicknamed Commissary Banks by the Confederates because they had stolen so much from him in the Shenandoah Valley. He's a Massachusetts politician, former governor of Massachusetts. What I found interesting about the hat, number one, as Court pointed out, we have all of these air vents that have been kind of installed here. These little discs that are on the side here. On top, there we have some holes punched in, and they're actually pretty symmetrical. I give them credit. Mm-hmm. They did take some time. But if you turn the hat around to this side that's closest to Court, you'll notice in a lot of pictures where soldiers can wear their the left or right side of their hat upward. And we have an eye hook here. They can hook right into this little piece of fabric that you see here, this little string. So you could flip the side of this hat up if you would like to. Unfortunately, he's in the Red River campaign. He's down in the southeast. It's really hot. You're probably not going to want to do that.
Yeah.
The other thing that makes this hat a little bit more unbearable in the deep south heat is the fact underneath we have a leather band. That leather band is not going to breathe, but what's really cool about it, and we'll get some B-roll of it, there's actually writing in there that's going to tell us that this is General Banks's hat. So this is a really cool artifact. You can also see around here discoloration, most likely from sweat stains. That's where this is going to prove that this is most likely worn, especially here on this portion of the hat. You're going to see a lot of discoloration, sweat stains, things of that nature. But Nathaniel Banks is one of those generals I think people love to hate, to kind of tease. Served a lot in the Eastern Theater, didn't do so well against Stonewall Jackson, and then goes down into the Red River campaign. 1863, 1864 down there into the southeast. So this is a really, really cool hat. You can see the acorn cord going around it. It almost looks like, and I know he wasn't, it almost looks like a bullet went through the top of the hat. You think that's maybe just natural wear and tear, or maybe somebody
I think
cut
someone grabbing it, or maybe him, really. The vent holes shouldn't allow perspiration to collect, but you can see discoloration here too. So it's possible that he just sweat so much down toward Shreveport and all those places that this was natural wear and tear.
And just like everything here at the Horse Soldier, this is for sale. If you'd like to come here, you can check out their website or come over to their store here on Steinway Avenue. So, Court, let's sit this one off to the side and let's see what other treasures you have inside of these boxes. Court is the only one who has seen inside the boxes, so we're unveiling these in front of
That's not true. Jim has.
Jim Thomas, who's over here. Thanks for both of you for having us here. So, this is a uniform of another well-known general.
Oh my goodness, everyone knows this man. Whether infamously or famously for his political career, for his law career, or for his career as a general.
So it's Ben Butler.
Yes.
Known and nicknamed in the Deep South as Beast Butler or Spoons Butler during the occupation of New Orleans, which is the first major Confederate city to fall under Union occupation in the Deep South. He is going to be the military governor down there for a while, and he does not ingratiate himself to the local population. But you can see he's a fairly rotund individual here. And here's the picture with the shoulder boards. You can see that he has his dress sword on, gauntlets, and of course he has a sash and his sword belt. And what we're seeing here, Court, looks like what is inside of this on this picture.
In the file, it says this is the uniform from the photo. So very neat. This is a case for the epaulets. These are all really fine wound wire with gilt on them. Probably tailor-made velvet here that's turned to a little more brown than black. Probably the neatest piece, in my opinion, is his dress hat. Imagining Ben Butler in that gives me more of a Napoleonic image than
Yes.
the usual Butler that we're used to.
And what's great about this is showing that general officers, as well as officers, have to buy their own uniforms.
Yes.
They do have relatively standard regulations, but what you're seeing here is the double-breasted frock coat that you would have the buttons on either side, double-breasted here coming down. The hat itself, which doesn't really protect you at all from the sun, as Court pointed out, is more from the Napoleonic era. This is not a chin strap coming down. That's just the leather band from the interior of this hat. It's kind of worn out over the years. You can still see the plume on the top. His plumage is amazing. If you're a Monty Python fan, you can see that.
I'm sure Ben Butler was a champion sweater
Yeah.
as well.
Especially big down in New Orleans. And then down here we have his sash. Court, what else would you like to...
The material of this coat, I don't know who made it, but we have coats here from general officers and senior officers that were all primarily tailor-made. And this is some of the finest broadcloth I've seen on any of the coats here in the store. Even General Grant's coat downstairs, humble as it is, doesn't match the quality of Butler's, which you expect from a guy like Butler.
Yeah, another Massachusetts general, political general. Lincoln's kind of stuck with him throughout the war, doesn't do a great job in the Bermuda 100 campaign and other places. But as Court's pointing out, this wool here is just absolutely smooth. It's not coarse like you would normally think with a Civil War uniform. In fact, most of these are actually lined. So whenever you look inside of here, you can see the lining. The stitching is just immaculate. That's still here. Interior pocket. Yes, they do have pockets in their uniforms. So you can see the interior pocket here. And the buttons are in fantastic shape. This is not something you would normally see him wearing out and about or on the battlefield itself. But for a portrait, for more formal settings and other settings like that, you'd have these big shoulder board epaulets showing 2 stars for a major general, United States Army, and then of course the Federal Eagle buttons, and the hat's just amazing. And of
You're
course,
welcome to look in that box, Kris.
all right. So we're gonna open this up, and we do have permission to not have gloves on here. It's
If we can.
there we go.
There we go.
All right. And this, there's no spoons in here. That would have been perfect if there were spoons. This looks like some of his cutlery that we have here.
Maybe stolen. Who knows?
With Butler, that's the intimation from New Orleans that he took everything that wasn't batted down. Think about Ronald Spears and Band of Brothers. If he could take it, he would do that. So these looks like, is that bone handle or
Bone
is that
handle,
bone
yeah.
handle? Really, really cool set of knives that we have here, coming along with Ben Butler's uniform. And then if you close this, there are actually 2 little latches. This is very common for the time of the American Civil War. Had these little kind of almost look like hooks on them, and you would latch these closed so that it wouldn't come open. It's very substantial. It's pretty. This thing probably weighs 5 pounds alone, just this box here. We're at the Horse Soldier here in Gettysburg. Check out their website, and if you're in town, come over here and check out the shop itself. Everything here is for sale. If you want to own a piece of history of Ben Butler's uniform and wear it around the office like Gary would if we gave him the opportunity to, you can do that. So I'm just going to move Nathaniel Banks' hat over here, 2 Massachusetts officers.
There's a lot of generalship on this table right now.
Yes. But we're going to take a step back in rank, are we not?
We sure are.
All right.
To the 2nd Louisiana.
This is 2nd Louisiana here at Gettysburg. They served in Jesse Williams' brigade, Frank Nichols' brigade. I always tell the story of Frank Nichols, who was wounded 3 times during the war. He lost an eye, an arm, a piece of his arm, and a foot. And after the war, he becomes governor of Louisiana. And the men said, "We will vote for whatever's left of Frank Nichols." But this is one of the men who would have served here at Culp's Hill, July 2nd and 3rd, attacking upper portion of Culp's Hill. And Court, it looks like there's some amazing buttons here on this shell jacket. This is known as a shell jacket.
Absolutely. Those are state buttons. So this is probably some sort of depot-made coat. I haven't spent much time with this one, but this looks like it had at one time blue, light blue infantry trim. It has a belt loop here. More akin to like what you'd see on an Alabama coat, like 64 on, but yeah, I like it. I like the color of the jean wool, the butternut kind of rust. It looks like at one point it probably had some type of Osnaburg lining, but the fabric probably faded, and it's definitely seen some use.
Yeah, comparing this obviously to General Officer's coat, we just looked at Ben Butler. This is extraordinarily rough. This jean wool is extraordinarily rough. You're going to want to have something on underneath it. This coat itself, it's a little bit smoother on the inside, which is nice, but the outside very rough. The buttons themselves, you could run your belt and accoutrements through these loops and then up into this area. So you see a little bit of extra wear down in this area because this is where his belt would have come through. He would have been carrying a cartridge box as well as his cap box, bayonet, and everything else. But the buttons are in immaculate shape. They look like it interior has been reinforced. You can see it's actually 2 different layers of jean cloth there that they've sewn up over the years. It's starting to come apart a little bit, but you can see that they've definitely reinforced the buttons here and there. And as Court pointed out, you can still see, it might not show up on camera, but you can see the hints of the blue for the infantry showing up here. You would have seen more of a gold yellow for the officers on the braids that you'd have seen on the sash of Ben Butler. So we see the different branches of the military being displayed here. This is a soldier. Do we know if he survived? Do we know anything about it? Or?
This coat is ID'd to, or jacket, I should say. I believe it's on the box here.
Yep. Flip it around for you.
Thank you. Private William Marshall, Company E of the 2nd Louisiana. His history, as far as I know, I don't know much. I haven't looked him up, but hopefully he survived, and this is just a memento of his time here at Gettysburg and places beyond and places before. But I think it's a really neat-looking coat, or jacket, I should say. I should keep saying. And the trim on there looks more like silk or a polished cotton to me than it does any type of wool or broadcloth.
And you could see it was attached later on. Obviously,
Yeah, and so the 2nd Louisiana, they were Hayes?
Nichols.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
So
it'd be Jesse Williams guys here. And then with the 7 buttons, which is indicative of a shell jacket, so a little shorter coat. Shell jackets were kind of the rave in Europe around the turn of the 19th century, whenever you would put them onto your skirmishers who would go out front, so your coattails would be caught on different things. So that's why you start seeing these shorter shell jackets coming out like that. And, with the Confederates being the Confederates and Union being Union, uniform sometimes is not exactly uniform. But it's in remarkably, even though it might not look like it, remarkably great condition for a coat that has seen a lot of obvious field service.
endless campaigning. Think of the hundreds, if not thousands of miles this saw just during the Gettysburg campaign if it was here. It's remarkable. Remarkable.
And Court, I think we have some other things we're going to check out here at the Horse Soldier, so stay tuned on this video. And we're heading down into the showroom here at the Horse Soldier, but before we do, I mean, we're just walking down the stairs from their offices. We have Confederate flags, Union flags, and this flag in particular has ties to at least one Gettysburg unit, and that's the 4th Texas Infantry, who assaulted Little Round Top on July 2nd, 1863. This wool Confederate flag, which would have been a company flag, issued to Company G, 4th Texas Infantry, is a wool flag. You can see it's in great shape. The fly end, the end that would be off into the wind, is in really excellent shape, just a little bit of fraying. The hoist end, this is this side over here, has 2 hoist holes, no grommets over top of it, so you'd have to be careful if you flew this in high winds. This flag could technically rip off. 13 Confederate stars on this this flag, even though there are only 11 Confederate states. We have 2 extra stars for Kentucky as well as Missouri because the Confederacy thought they might eventually have them into the Confederacy. But the canton, the blue on here, you can see the beautiful hand stitching on it. Over here on the stripes, the red, the white, the red, the blue canton. This is indicative of an early war Confederate flag. As we go on throughout the war, the Confederates will change the view of this flag, or the design, I should say, of these flags, because they look far too similar to United States flags, and that means that would create confusion on battlefields such as First Manassas or First Bull Run, where Union or Confederate units could fire into one another and have that confusion. So over time, we'll see these Confederate flags change, and if you come up here to the Horse Soldier, they have tons of flags, Union and Confederate, that you can check out and you can purchase for yourself. All right, as we close off our visit here to the Horse Soldier, Court is holding a really cool Sharps rifle. This is an amazing piece because the Sharps rifle is most well known to be attached to the United States Sharpshooters, the 1st and 2nd U.S. Sharpshooters. And here at Gettysburg, they fought at places around Devil's Den, out in the Valley of Death, and then out into Pitzer's Woods and other places. And we know that this is a U.S. Sharpshooters rifle because it has USSS stamped right there, United States Sharpshooters. The Sharps rifle is an interesting rifle because it's a breech-loading rifle, accurate up to 800-ish yards, and it is a breech-loading rifle, and we can actually take the trigger guard and drop the breech block, which will open up access to the rear of this gun, or the breech of the gun. You can see clearly right down into the barrel, heavily rifled, so that's going to give the spin on the ball and give it its accuracy. What's also interesting, right near the end of the breech block, we have the hammer, which has a Maynard system which would feed the percussion caps right up there automatically. You pull back your hammer, that would feed up a percussion cap after you've put your cartridge in the rear of the gun. You would then close the breech block, close that trigger guard. That would chop off the back end of the linen cartridge itself. That would expose the black powder, cock the rifle. The Maynard system would then spew out a little percussion cap, which you can see right about there, a little outline for it, onto the cone of the gun or the nipple. Then you could set your trigger, and you could see that there are 2 triggers here. We have a forward trigger, which would set your hair trigger in the back, because you don't want to jerk this rifle. You're a sharpshooter. So what you want to do is just gently pull on that, and the hammer would fall down. We don't want to dry fire the gun, and that would fall right down onto the cone, hit the percussion cap, which will create a spark, go down into the breech of the gun, ignite the gunpowder, send the ball down range. That's the idea. Now, the gun also has an elevated sight, which we could flip it up to. And as you're elevating the sight, what this means is, because of the way a bullet travels, it actually is going to fire in an arc once it comes out of this gun. All of the velocity is lost as soon as you go out of the end of this gun. Your muzzle velocity is important because all of the power is from the gunpowder here, send it down, and then as soon as it leaves the barrel, it's going to start to lose its speed and it's going to start to lose its accuracy due to windage and other items. So as you elevate this, you would actually elevate the gun higher. You'd look like you'd be aiming up here to hit something at 700, 800 yards out. It looks a little bit silly, but you have to aim the gun that way. This gun itself is a little bit shorter than your typical rifle because you're not only a sharpshooter, you want to load it from the rear so you don't expose yourself, plus it gives you a little bit more better balance for your accuracy. Sharps created this in Connecticut. A fantastic piece, and this is definitely a piece that, as we were talking about, has seen a lot of action here. We have it numbered, it's stamped, Everything on this gun is in beautiful condition here at the Horse Soldier in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Court, I really want to thank you and the
Thank
team
you
here
so
for
much.
having us out here today.
Always
This
a
is
pleasure.
Court's first time on camera with us, so I think you did a really, really good job.
Thank you.
Anything you want to add about the Horse Soldier?
This place is truly a treasure trove of amazing stuff. If you're nerds like us, this is like our Toys R Us.
That's a perfect way of putting it. Because we were just walking around, look at this, look at that, look at that.
It's just truly amazing. Like you spend your whole life studying this stuff. Again, if you're like us, and every day you get hands on it. There's nothing quite like it. So please come and see us. We love to talk to like-minded folks, show some interesting things, and just share pieces of our past as best we can.
And bring your credit card, because you're definitely going to want to purchase a handful of things as you walk through here at the Horse Soldier. So, Court, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Andy, behind the camera, thank you. We really
Thank you,
appreciate it. And thank you for watching. Please click that like and subscribe button, and head over to battlefields.org to learn more about what we do at the American Battlefield Trust. On behalf of the American Battlefield Trust, I'm Kris White. Thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting battlefield education and preservation.
Hello, this is Trace Atkins. Get inspired at battlefields.org.